Alright, what is going on YouTube? I am back again with another fighting game related video. Now today I actually wanted to talk about what makes fighting games fun, because I feel like when it comes to newer fighting game releases and what people want, or what a lot of fighting game players generally think that these developers should be adding to their newer fighting games, a lot of them say the same things like, oh, we need more single player content, or we need more things to make the game more accessible for casuals. And I feel like a lot of these fighting game developers, with some of the things that they're adding to these newer fighting games, I think they have the wrong idea on making the game more fun or more accessible for casuals. So I kind of wanted to talk about that. But yeah, this video is mainly to act as a place for you guys to put your comments in the comment section below on how you guys think that fighting games could be more fun or more accessible for casuals. So if you guys have any ideas, please leave them in the comments below. I would love to check them out and read them. But yeah, without further ado, let's get into it. So I feel like with a lot of the newer fighting games like Street Fighter 6 and MK11, the developers just have this wrong idea on what they think we think would make the fighting game more fun, or like for the casuals and what they want like to have in that fighting game experience, right? Because with Street Fighter 6, they added this whole extra battle mode, which adds all these like random items when you're fighting and stuff like that, right? And then you have Mortal Kombat 11, where in the single player like towers mode and everything like that, you get all these random items and different things that you get to use against your enemy, but then they also have all these random items that they can use on you. I feel like personally, I have never ever thought that that shit was fun. They had that in Injustice 2 as well, where you had all these random items and random things that can attack you, or you can use to attack them sometimes. But that shit is not fun. That shit was never fun to me, to be honest. And I feel like, especially in Injustice 2 and Mortal Kombat 11's case, because you have to do these single player tower modes and all these single player modes using those items simply just to grind parts and grind costume parts and unlock all these different skins for your characters that you want. So you have to do that stuff to grind for those things that you want, and I feel like that definitely takes away the fun out of it, right? Because when you look at a game like Smash Brothers, right, where they have items you can turn on and off, the reason why that works for Smash is because you're just playing the game with friends, right? Like, you're playing the game with friends, you can turn items on and off, right? You're not forced to grind a single player mode that uses items, unless you're talking about classic mode, but you really don't have to do those, right? Like, it's not required to do those to unlock skins for the characters, right? And then there's also the whole World of Light mode, whatever, but again, you don't have to do that to unlock anything specifically, other than I guess the menu music, but no one really cares. But in Injustice 2 and Mortal Kombat 11, the costume parts for your characters was a selling point for the game, right? Like, oh, you get to customize your character the way you want them to look, with all these different costume parts and all these different colors and skins that you can make your character really customize the way you want to, right? But to do that, you have to grind these single player modes that have these random items and all this different bullshit that's gonna get in your way, right? Basically, it's kind of like when you play a single player arcade mode and then the final boss has just such bullshit, right? Like, they just have double health, they just have 500 plus damage on all their attacks, right? Like, they just are completely maxed out with bullshit, right? Like, that's what playing those extra battle or those extra items modes in the battles that you have to use, like, that's what that feels like, and it's never been fun. It's never been fun. So I don't really know why NetherRealm has this idea that, like, oh, we want our casual players to have to go through this torture in their single player modes to get what they want, right? Like, why can't they just make it to where if we play the game more, if we play online with friends, we can unlock costume parts, like, why can't they just do that? Like, I don't understand why they do that. I mean, they have that for some of the other costume parts where you play like ranked or something in like a specific, like, I don't know, competitive like league or whatever, and then you get specific parts and stuff like that. But I just feel like, I don't know, the fact that they lock all these different parts behind specific modes and then they make the modes not even fun is really annoying. Now, Street Fighter 6 seems like they're handling it a little bit better because, you know, the extra battle mode doesn't seem to be like a gateway for anything that you have to unlock in the game, right? So that's pretty cool, and it seems like it's gonna be more reminiscent of Smash, to where it's just kind of an extra mode there. However, making Street Fighter more fun for casuals, the answer is not to add random items. Like, I feel like if I was playing Street Fighter with a friend and, you know, a beach ball just hit me and killed me, like, that is not fun. That's not my idea of more fun Street Fighter, you know? That's just annoying, just reminiscent of the things in MK11 where just shit hits you and it's like, oh my god, like, this is so annoying, you know? It's like an extra bullshit thing to do, or extra bullshit thing that they added in the game, and it's just, it's not fun. It's really not fun. Yeah, things that work for Smash don't exactly work for other fighting games, especially when it's 2D and it's not a platform fighter. However, there are ways that I do think fighting game developers can make fighting games a ton more fun, and I think there has been examples of it done well in recent fighting games. For example, Dragon Ball FighterZ. I think Dragon Ball FighterZ with its party mode is a ton of fun. The fact that you can make a team fighter into a 3v3 and each player controls one single character in the team versus another 3-player team online is like so much fun. I love that idea. I think it's fantastic, and I feel like for any team fighter or team-based fighting game, they definitely should think about incorporating this mode into the game because it is a ton of fun, honestly, and I love when games do that. I love when games give more modes that are multiplayer focused. The more we can do with more people in a fighting game or in a video game in general, the more fun, like, the better, you know? And I think one of the best instances that this has happened with Street Fighter was actually in Street Fighter Cross Tekken, where they made a 4-player mode to where you could have all 4 characters on the screen at the same time. It was insane. It was crazy bananas. Granted, it wasn't the best competitively, but at the same time, it wasn't meant to be competitive. It was meant to be there just for fun, and it was a ton of fun. To have 4 players on the screen at the same time in a Street Fighter game is crazy, it's wild, it's bananas, but it's fun, right? And it's not fun in the sense of like, oh, here's bullshit on the screen that you have to deal with. It's a more controlled kind of BS to where it's actually fun and characters are on the screen doing crazy things, but, you know, it doesn't feel like the weather is just being controlled by some CPU in the game's code and you just get hit with some random BS and you lose. It feels like, you know, everyone's still on the screen, still playing the game. Everyone that's playing the game is still controlling what happens in the game. And that's where I feel like the game is fun, but just not necessarily in the way that it was meant to be played, just not in a competitive way. Ever since that mode existed in a Street Fighter game, I've always wanted to see it return. And I think tag modes in general are just really great for fighting games. The fact that I can just be like, hey, let's play a fighting game and we don't actually have to fight each other is so great for fighting games. Because I feel like a lot of times when I say, hey, let's play a fighting game, people don't want to play with me because they don't want to get their ass beat by me, and they don't want to just be like, oh, you're just gonna beat my ass and I'm not gonna have fun. A lot of times if someone asks you to play a fighting game and you know that they're a lot better than you are, you're not gonna feel as inclined to accept that offer. You know, you're not gonna want to play with them that much, right? Especially if you don't find it fun. But if you know that you can play with them and like play against, let's say, 2 other random people online or offline, like, it's gonna feel so much more fun, right? If you know that you can play tag mode with like 3 other friends and it's just like the 4 of you guys fighting each other, like, that's 10 times more fun to me than like playing against your one friend that like isn't really even into the fighting game, and you know you can just maul them at any time, and you know that they're not having fun because they don't really know how to play the game and they don't really want to take the time to learn it either, you know? So it's just like adding that tag mode aspect there, I think, is really, really huge, and I think it's always been a great addition. Every single time it's in a fighting game, it's always been a great addition. MK9, it was great. DOA 5, it was great. Street Fighter X Tekken, it was great. Although, since that was kind of how the game was based, was like to be competitive and to be a tag team fighter, it was a little bit different, right? But when they added that extra mode to where you could play it with all 4 players on the same screen at the same time, that was really cool. It almost felt like Street Fighter Smash Bros in a way, which was really cool, really interesting. And I really, like I said, I would love to see them bring that back in some form of manner. More fighting games can add stuff like this to where more players can play the game on the screen at the same time. And I think that is definitely a great way to make a fighting game more fun without, you know, adding random bullshit and random items and stuff like that developers think will make the game more fun for us, but in actuality it doesn't. It really doesn't, in my opinion. Not to say that they can't have that there, but I really think that if they want to make the game more fun for us and for casuals, they should add tag mode, they should add other modes to where more people can play the game at the same time, or where you can do more cool things with your friends and not necessarily have to fight each other all the time, right? Like, I think in my opinion, when a game can become more than just its genre of the game itself, that's how you know the game is just amazing, right? Like, I think one of the coolest things that I ever saw was when Smash Bros did the subspace emissary type thing, right? Where, yeah, you're used to fighting each other on the platforms and everything, and, you know, knocking each other off, and whoever's the last man standing wins. But then when they added a whole other aspect to the game, which made it no longer just a platform fighter, but now like a platformer co-op story mode like scenario, like that was just the coolest thing in the world to me, right? Another example, Tekken 6, where they added co-op and you could like fight off all these different enemies. It was almost like a 3D beat 'em up type thing with Tekken, and it was just the coolest thing, right? Like, where are those modes? You know, where is that? Like, where's those unique experiences that they used to give a fuck about and actually add into fighting games? That's what I want to see more of. That's what I really want to see more of. And Street Fighter 6 seems like it's on somewhat of a decent path when it comes to single player content. That's definitely a different video and different discussion, but I just feel like, I don't know, the extra battle mode is definitely not the way to go for when it comes to making fighting games more fun. I think when it comes to making fighting games more fun, you need to add modes that are actually more multiplayer focused. When it comes to single player modes, Street Fighter 6 does seem like it's going to deliver. Is it going to necessarily make the game more fun, more accessible for casuals when it's a fighting game and, you know, the game is most fun when playing with other people? That is the question. But yeah, that's pretty much all I got for this one, guys. Let me know what you guys think about everything that I had to say in the comments below, and also let me know if you guys have any other ideas or any other examples of other fighting games that I may have missed, that have done other unique modes that were actually a ton of fun that you would love to see them bring back in current fighting games and modern fighting game releases today. But yeah, that's it for this one, guys. Thank you all so much for watching all the way to the end. If you did enjoy this video, please leave a like and subscribe. That would help me out a ton. And yeah, as always, thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate it, and I'll see y'all in the next video.